Chosen one, do not scroll. Stop your thumb right there. You were not looking for this video. This video was placed in front of you. There is a difference, and before this is over, you will know the difference in your bones. I know what you have been carrying. I know the number in your account right now. I know you checked it this morning before you got out of bed, and I know what your stomach did when you saw it. You did not tell anyone. You did not have to. I was already in the room. And I am telling you now, plainly, with no poetry and no delay, your bank account is about to begin reflecting your obedience. Not your talking, not your posting, not your promising, your obedience. The quiet things, the unseen things, the moments no one clapped for, the times you did the right thing when doing the wrong thing would have felt so much better. Those were not wasted, those were deposits. And the season of withdrawal has come. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I am going to show you exactly why your harvest has felt delayed, exactly what has been happening in the unseen realm while you were crying in your car, and exactly what I am asking you to do for the next 7 days. That last part, the 7 days. I will hold until you are ready for it. Do not skip ahead looking for it. If you take the instruction without the understanding, you will misuse it. And I did not bring you this far to watch you fumble the very thing you have been begging for. First, understand where you are standing. Comment 777 right now. Not as a ritual, not as a superstition, as a witness. Because the number of people who will see this video and scroll past is enormous, and the number who will stop, sit down, and let me finish is very small. And I want you on record, in writing, with a timestamp, as one who stopped. 10 days from now, when the shift begins, you are going to come back and read your own comment, and you are going to realize you were told before it happened. Comment it, then come back to me. Chosen one, let me say something that may be the reason your chest has felt tight for months. You have not been ignored. You have been processed. There is a difference between a door that is locked and a door that is not finished being built. You have been standing in front of an unfinished door, banging on it, weeping at it, apologizing to it, asking me what you did wrong. Nothing was wrong. It was not finished, and you cannot walk through a door that has not been hung on its hinges. You have been faithful. I want to name that out loud because nobody else has. You gave when your own account was low. You gave and then you drove home doing math in your head, hoping the number worked out. You served when you were exhausted. You showed up when nobody noticed you showed up. You tithed while other people vacationed. You kept your word to people who broke theirs to you. You forgave someone who never even acknowledged what they did to you. And you forgave them silently, which is the hardest kind, because there was no applause, no closure, no apology, no witness. There was a witness. I saw every single one. And here is what you did not know. Every one of those acts was a seed, not a gesture, not a nice thing you did, a seed. And seeds do not do what you want them to do. Seeds do what seeds do. They go into the dark. They break open. They look, for a while, like they died. That is where you have been. You have been in the dark part. And the dark part is not punishment. The dark part is the process. Let me take you to a field. A farmer takes good grain he could have eaten, and he buries it in dirt. If you did not know what farming was, you would think he had lost his mind. He is taking food and putting it where he cannot reach it. He is taking something valuable and hiding it under the ground, and then he walks away and does nothing. For weeks, that field looks exactly like it did before. No sprout, no green, no sign. If you stood at the edge of that field and judged the farmer by what your eyes could see, you would call him a fool who wasted good grain. But underground, something violent and beautiful is happening. The shell is cracking. The root is reaching down before the stem ever reaches up. And that is the part nobody talks about. Chosen one, so hear me. The root always goes down before the fruit comes up. Always. Every single time. Depth before display. You have been growing roots. That is why it has felt like nothing is happening. Roots do not photograph well. Roots do not impress anybody at the family gathering. Roots do not show up in your bank app. But roots are the only reason a tree can survive what is coming when it finally gets tall enough to be seen. I have been rooting you, because I refuse to give you a harvest your character cannot carry. Do you understand what I just told you? The delay was not rejection. The delay was protection. There is a version of you from 3 years ago who would have received this blessing and been destroyed by it. That version of you would have told the wrong people. That version of you would have spent it on the people who left. That version of you would have used it to prove something to somebody who never deserved an explanation. I have watched what sudden money does to unhealed people. I have watched lottery winners end up poorer than they started. I have watched inheritance destroy families. Money is not a blessing to a person who is not ready. Money is a magnifier. It makes you more of whatever you already are. So I made you ready first. And chosen one. You are ready now. That is why this video found you today and not last year. Stay with me, because I am about to show you the exact mechanism. I am about to explain what has been happening in the unseen realm while you thought nothing was happening at all. And after that, I am going to tell you about a man who obeyed in a basement for 13 years and then ran a national economy. And I am going to show you the one thing he did that you are being asked to do this week. But before that, breathe. Just breathe. You have been holding your breath for so long you forgot what it feels like to let one out. Let it out now. Nothing is chasing you in this moment. In this moment, you are simply a person sitting somewhere, being spoken to, being seen. Let your shoulders down. Let your jaw unclench. There is nothing you have to fix in the next 4 minutes. I am not angry with you. I want you to hear that again. Because a lot of what you call waiting you have secretly interpreted as punishment. You have been quietly wondering if you are being disciplined, if there is a sin you forgot about, if you missed a step somewhere in your 20s and this is the interest on it. No, the delay was never a verdict. The delay was construction. Now let me explain the mechanism. There is a law woven into everything I made, and it is so consistent that people take it for granted. Seed, time, harvest. Not seed and harvest. Seed, time, harvest. The time is not an inconvenience in the middle. The time is a required ingredient. Remove the time and you do not get a faster harvest, you get no harvest. You get a hole in the ground with a rotting seed in it. Everybody wants to skip the middle. Nobody can. An apple tree does not produce apples in its first year. It does not produce them in its second year. Depending on the tree, you may wait 4 years, 6 years, 8 years before that tree hands you a single piece of fruit. And in year 3, when it is just a stick with leaves, it is not failing. It is not broken. It is not being punished. It is 3 years old. Some of you have been calling yourself a failure when you are just 3 years old in a 9-year assignment. Now hear this next part carefully, because this is where most people miss it and stay stuck for another decade. You have been measuring the wrong thing. You have been measuring the harvest. The number in the account, the offer that did not come, the promotion they gave to someone else, the house that fell through. That is fruit. You cannot control fruit. Fruit is downstream. Fruit is an outcome, and outcomes are mine. What is yours is the seed and the soil. That is it. That is the whole of your assignment. Plant well, tend the soil, and let me handle the sky. You have been trying to do my job, and you have been exhausting yourself doing a job you were never given, and that is why you are so tired. Not because the assignment is heavy. Because you have been carrying 2 assignments, and one of them was never yours. Put it down. Chosen one, put it down. Now, the part nobody preaches. Not all obedience looks like giving money. Some of your largest seeds this year had nothing to do with a checkbook. Let me name them, and watch what happens in your chest as I do. There was a day when you were completely justified in going off on someone. You had the receipts. You had the words loaded. You knew exactly which sentence would have ended them. And you closed your mouth. You walked away. You let them keep the last word and keep their false version of events. Nobody knew what that cost you. You sat in the silence afterward, feeling weak, feeling like a coward, replaying what you should have said. That was not weakness. That was a seed the size of a mountain. There was a day you forgave someone who is not sorry, who has never been sorry. who tells the story with themselves as the hero and you as the villain. And you released them anyway. Not because they earned it, but because you refused to carry a rock that heavy into your future. Nobody applauded. There was no scene. You just quietly decided to stop dying over it. Seed. There was a day you gave when it hurt. Not surplus giving. Not comfortable giving. Giving that cost you something real, that changed what you could eat that week, that made you sit in your car afterward asking yourself if you had just been foolish. I want to be very clear with you about this, because I am not careless with your life. I never asked you to give what your family needed to survive. I never asked you to go hungry to prove something to me. Obedience is not self-destruction, and any voice that tells you it is not mine. But you know the difference between reckless and obedient. You know which ones were real, and every real one was recorded. Seed. There was a day you told the truth when a lie would have been easier and more profitable. There was a day you did the work properly when nobody would ever have checked. There was a day you paid back what you owed when the person had forgotten about it. There was a day you did not take what was available to you because it was not actually yours. Chosen one, do you know how rare that is? You have been in rooms where people advanced by cutting corners you refused to cut, and you watched them get ahead of you, and you asked me why the dishonest prosper. I heard the question. I did not answer it then because you were not ready for the answer. Here is the answer. They received a payment. You received an inheritance. A payment is spent. An inheritance compounds. What they took, they now have to defend forever. And defending something you stole is a full-time job that never ends and never pays. What you built, you will never have to look over your shoulder about. You will sleep. They will not. I did not overlook you. I put you on a different schedule. Now stay with me, because I am about to tell you what has been happening in the unseen realm. And this is the part that is going to reframe the last 2 years of your life. But first, like this video and subscribe if you have not already. Not for me, for you. Because I intend to keep speaking to you. And if you do not mark this place, the algorithm will not bring you back and you will spend 3 weeks trying to find the video that changed your life. Mark it now, while you are thinking about it. Then meet me in the unseen. Here is what has been happening. You have believed that nothing was happening. That is the lie that has cost you the most. Understand, what shows up in your account is the last stage of a process, not the first. By the time money moves, 7 other things have already moved. Money is the caboose of the train, chosen one. It is not the engine. And you have been standing on the platform, staring down the tracks, seeing no caboose, concluding there is no train, while the engine and 6 cars have already passed you in the dark. Let me show you what has already moved. Your name has been moving. It has been coming up in rooms you have never entered, in conversations you were not invited to, on lists you did not know existed. Someone mentioned you last month to someone who has the ability to change your entire financial trajectory, and you will not learn about that conversation until after the fruit shows up. Your reputation has been moving. There is a particular person who watched how you handled the hardest year of your life. They never said anything. They did not check on you the way they should have. But they were watching, and what they saw made a decision in them that is going to surface in your favor. Your capacity has been moving. The you that exists today can handle pressure that would have shattered the you of 4 years ago. You have been trained by things you would never have volunteered for. Every unfair season taught you something that is about to become monetizable. And I am choosing that word deliberately, because some of you are about to be paid for wisdom you acquired in a valley you cursed while you were in it. Your discernment has been moving. You can spot a counterfeit now in about 90 seconds. That is not paranoia, that is calibration. And when money increases, discernment is the difference between a blessing and a bankruptcy, because increase attracts an entirely new class of people, and not all of them are coming for you. Your obstacles have been moving. There were 3 things blocking your path that you have never once thought about, because you never knew they were there. One of them was a person. One of them was a contract. One of them was a timing conflict that would have made the blessing arrive at the worst possible moment in your life. All 3 have been quietly removed while you were busy being disappointed. Nothing was happening? Chosen one, everything was happening. You just could not see the ledger. Comment 777 again if this is landing. And this time, let it mean something specific. Let it mean I am done calling silence emptiness. Because the silence was never empty. The silence was full of my work. You just were not given clearance to watch it. Now let me tell you about a young man who lived the exact life you have been living. He was 17. He had a dream. A real one I gave him. And he made the mistake almost every chosen one makes at 17. He announced it. He told people who were never meant to hold it. He told his brothers. And his brothers did not celebrate him. They resented him. And that resentment turned into violence. And that violence turned into a pit. And that pit turned into a sale. And he was sold by his own blood to strangers and walked out of his homeland in chains. Understand where he was. 17 years old. Correct about his calling. Completely wrong about the timeline. And now a slave. Now here is what he did that I want you to see. He did not stop being excellent. He arrived in a foreign house as property. And he worked so well that the man who owned him promoted him over the entire estate. Everything that man had, this slave managed. Not because he was campaigning, because he was consistent. He did excellent work in a place he did not want to be, for a man who legally owned him, in a country he had been dragged to against his will. That is obedience in obscurity. That is what you have been doing. And then it got worse, because he did the right thing. Because he refused a woman who wanted him and would not compromise. He was lied about and thrown into prison. Chosen one, hear that. He went to prison for the sin of integrity. He was punished specifically because he obeyed. That is the part that breaks most people. That is the part that makes people say obedience does not pay. And in that prison, he did it again. He managed. He served. He interpreted a dream for a fellow prisoner and asked one small favor. Remember me when you get out. That man got out and forgot him. 2 more years. 2 more years in a hole because a man forgot a promise. Do you know that feeling? Someone said they would help. Someone said they would call. Someone said they would put in a word. And they walked into their new life and never thought about you again. And you sat there with your hope slowly turning into something harder. 13 years total. 17 to 30. The entire decade most people build their lives in. Gone. Slavery and prison. No property. No title. No income. No visible evidence that anything he believed about himself was true. And then one morning, a ruler had a dream nobody could interpret, and the forgetful man suddenly remembered, and they pulled that prisoner out of the ground, shaved him, put clothes on him, and stood him in front of the most powerful man in the world. By the end of that single day, he was second in command over the entire nation, authority over the food supply of the known world, a signet ring on his hand, a chariot, a new name, wealth he could not have counted. 13 years of nothing, 1 day of everything. Chosen one, that is the pattern. That is the shape of how I move. Not gradual, incremental, fair-seeming improvement. Long preparation, then sudden elevation. Slow, 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 sudden. And here is why I had to do it that way. And this is the part that will settle your soul. He was not in that prison for 13 years because I was slow. He was there because a famine was coming, and the famine had a date. The 7 years of plenty had a date. The dream of the ruler had a date. Everything had to converge. He could not be released early. Because if he had been released 3 years earlier, he would have been a free man in the wrong place, with no platform when the crisis hit, and an entire region would have starved. His delay saved nations. You have been asking me to release you early. I have been declining. Not because I do not love you, but because there are things attached to you that are not ready yet. There are people who will be fed by what I am about to put in your hands. There is a family member who will be rescued by your obedience. There is a stranger you have not met whose entire life is going to change because you did not quit in the year you almost quit. You are not just being blessed, you are being positioned. And now the convergence is here. Stay with me, because I am about to tell you the 7-day instruction. But before I do, I have to remove one thing from you, and if I do not remove it, the instruction will not work. I have to remove the doubt. Not because doubt offends me. I am not fragile. I have heard every accusation you have ever made in the dark, and I did not flinch, and I did not leave. Doubt does not disqualify you, but doubt does something else. Doubt makes you dig up the seed. Picture a farmer who plants a field and then, 2 weeks later, cannot stand the waiting. So he goes out at night with his hands and digs. He pulls up a seed to check on it. Then another, then another. He is not evil, he is just afraid. He needs to see something, and every seed he digs up dies. Not because the ground failed him, because he interrupted the process to relieve his own anxiety. Chosen one, how many times have you dug up your seed? You gave, and then you took the credit back by telling everyone what you gave. Dug up, you forgave, and then 3 weeks later you reopened the case and relitigated it in your mind and told the story again to a friend with fresh anger. Dug up, you committed to a path, and then panicked at week 6 and abandoned it for a faster path, and then abandoned that one at week 4 for an even faster one, and now you have 12 half-dug holes and no harvest, and you think you have bad luck. You do not have bad luck. You have an impatience problem, and impatience is the single most expensive habit a chosen one can have. You prayed and released it, and then took it back and started managing the outcome yourself, calling the people, forcing the door, pushing the situation, manipulating the timing. Every time you did that, you reset the clock. I am not condemning you, I am diagnosing you. Because you cannot fix what you refuse to name, and I love you far too much to flatter you into another decade of the same cycle. So here is what changes today. From this moment, you do not dig, you water. You do not check the seed, you tend the soil. You do not ask, where is it? You ask, what else can I plant while I wait? Because, and write this down, the waiting period is not dead time. The waiting period is planting season. You will never get more seed in your hand than you have during a season when the harvest has not arrived. Later, when abundance comes, you will have less time, less focus, more noise. Right now you have hunger, clarity, and nothing to lose. That is the most fertile combination a human being can possess. Do not waste your famine. Plant in it. Now. The 7 days. Chosen one, I am asking you for 1 week. 7 days of quiet obedience. Not 7 years, not 7 months. 7 days. And I want to be precise about what I mean, because vague instructions produce vague results, and I did not stop your scroll today to give you a feeling. I stopped you to give you an assignment. Here is the first thing. For 7 days, obey without announcing it. Whatever good you do this week, do it silently. Give without the story. Help without the post. Show up without the mention. If you do something kind for someone, do not tell a single soul. Not your closest friend, not your spouse, not the group chat. Let it stay between you and me. Why? Because there is a law you may not know. When you display the seed, you collect the reward in advance. The applause is a payment, and once you have been paid in attention, the account is settled. There is nothing left owing to you. But an unseen seed has no receipt. It stays open. It stays owed. And what is owed by me is not owed in applause. It is owed in harvest. Take the smaller payment or wait for the larger one. That is the whole choice. 7 days. Take the larger one. Second thing. For 7 days, close your mouth in every argument. You are guaranteed to win. There will be at least 2 this week. 1 at work or in your business. 1 with family. You will be right. You will be able to prove it. And I am asking you to let it go unproven. I know exactly what that costs you. Being misunderstood while holding the evidence is one of the loneliest feelings a person can have. But hear me. Every time you defend yourself, you take the case out of my hands and into yours. And I am a far better attorney than you are. You cannot change what people think of you by arguing. I can change it overnight without you saying a word. Vindication that you manufacture lasts a week. Vindication that I deliver reshapes how a person sees you for the rest of their life. Let it go unproven. Watch what I do. Third thing. For 7 days, do the work in front of you with a quality that does not match your current pay. This is the Joseph move. This is the exact hinge of his entire story. He was excellent in a house where he was property, and in a prison where he was forgotten. He gave master-level effort in slave-level conditions, and that is precisely what made him legible to power when the door finally opened. When they needed a man to run a nation, he had already been running whatever he was given for 13 years. You have been giving 80% because you have been getting 60%. I understand the math. It is fair. It is also the exact reason the door has not opened, because I do not promote based on what you would do if you were rewarded. I promote based on what you do while you are not. 7 days. Do it excellently, even if they do not deserve it, especially if they do not deserve it. You are not building their business. You are building your evidence. Fourth thing, for 7 days, guard your mouth about your own future. No, nothing ever works out for me. No, this is just my life. No, I always get overlooked. You have been narrating your own containment. Words are seeds too, chosen one. The most careless seeds you plant, because you scatter them by the hundreds without noticing. 7 days. Speak nothing over yourself that you would not want to harvest. And fifth, for 7 days, obey the small nudge. There is going to be a moment this week, probably more than one, where something in you says, do that, and it will make no sense. Call that person, send that message, apply for that thing you are not qualified for. Show up to that event you were going to skip. Take that route. Say yes to that coffee. Clear out that room. Make that apology. It will feel too small to matter. That is the disguise. That is always the disguise. The doors I open are almost never labeled. They look like a small inconvenience with a strange pull attached to it. Joseph interpreted one dream for one forgotten prisoner. That was it. That was the entire hinge of a global destiny. One small act of service for one man who could do nothing for him and who then forgot him for 2 years. The small nudge is the door. Obey it. Now let me tell you what to expect, and let me tell you honestly. Do not expect a check to fall out of the sky on day one. Some of you will get something like that, and I will speak to that in a moment. But that is not the pattern. The pattern is doors, not deposits. The money is the caboose, remember. Watch for the engine. Watch for a phone call from someone you have not heard from in years. Watch for a conversation where a person says, actually, I know somebody. Watch for a change in a decision-maker's schedule that puts you in front of them. Watch for someone leaving a position you never thought would open. Watch for a bill to be reduced, an error to be found in your favor, a fee to be waived, a debt to be forgiven, a refund you did not know you were owed. Watch for an old skill to suddenly become relevant. Watch for a no that turns out to be the best thing that ever happened to you within 30 days. Watch for one door to open in an area you were not even praying about. That is my signature. I love to answer prayers from an angle you never faced. And chosen one, watch your peace. Because before the provision comes, the peace comes. That is the first fruit. If you wake up one morning this week and your chest is loose and the dread is missing and you cannot explain why, that is not a mood. That is confirmation. That is the root breaking through the shell. Peace before provision. Always. Now let me say the hard part, because I will not flatter you. 7 days of obedience does not obligate me. I am not a machine you insert obedience into and receive money from. If I were, you would love the machine and not me. And you would become one of those people who obeys with an invoice in their hand, tracking what they are owed, growing bitter when the terms are not met on schedule. I have watched people do that for decades and it hollows them out. So do not do this week as a transaction. Do it as an alignment. The difference is everything. A transaction says, I give this, you give that. An alignment says, I am moving into position, and when the wind comes, I will already be facing the right direction. The wind is coming. That much I am telling you. Whether it reaches your sails depends on where you are standing when it arrives. Now, about that window. Chosen one, I need you to understand something about timing, and I need you to receive it without panic, because I do not motivate through fear. There are seasons of open alignment, not because I close doors arbitrarily, but because circumstances converge and then they diverge. The position that is open right now will be filled by someone in the next several weeks. The person who is currently thinking about you will move on to thinking about something else. The buyer who is looking right now will find something else to buy. The market conditions that make this exact opportunity possible will shift, because markets always shift. The blessing is not on a timer. The alignment is. You will not lose your destiny by being slow, but you can absolutely lose this particular door, and doors are not identical. Some doors lead to good things. Some doors lead to the thing, and you have been waiting on the thing. So do not delay this week, not out of fear, out of respect for what has been arranged. And let me speak to the specific thing that could delay you, because I already know what it is. It is not laziness. You are not lazy. You have worked harder than people who have 10 times what you have, and that unfairness is part of what has wounded you. It is not lack of faith, exactly. You believe I can. You have never doubted my ability. What you have doubted is whether I would do it for you. That is the wound. Not theology, personal. You believe I bless people. You have watched me bless people. You have celebrated at other people's parties with a real smile and a hollow place underneath it, going home and asking the ceiling, why not me? You have wondered if you are somehow outside the category of people I do that for. If there is something about you specifically, some flaw, some history, some failure, something you did that you have never told anyone, that put you in a different bracket. Chosen one, hear me now. There is no bracket. There is no list you are not on. There is no room where the good things are handed out that you were not admitted to. There is no version of me that loves the person you have been comparing yourself to more than I love you. I have never once looked at you and thought, not this one. The reason you have waited is not that I hesitated. It is that what I am building in you takes longer than what I built in them, because it is bigger. Ordinary structures go up in weeks. Foundations that hold weight take longer to pour, and they take longer precisely because they are meant to hold more. You were not skipped. You were scaled. Let me tell you what I see when I look at you. I see someone who should have become bitter and did not. That is not a small thing. That is one of the rarest achievements a human being can accomplish. Most people who get treated the way you were treated become the thing that hurt them. You did not. You got quieter and softer in the places that count, and harder only in the places that needed a wall. You still open the door for people. You still hope. That hope has been beaten and it still gets up. I see someone who kept giving after being taken from. Do you know how unusual that is? Once a person is exploited, they normally close. They install a rule, never again. And you had every right to install that rule. You did not. You just got wiser about who, and kept the giving alive. That is character forged, not inherited. I see someone who has been carrying other people's weight while telling everyone they are fine. And I want to say this directly to you. You are allowed to not be fine. You are allowed to be tired. That is not a lack of faith. Joseph wept. He wept so loudly in a palace that the whole house heard him. Strength is not the absence of tears. Strength is what you do the day after the tears. I see someone at the exact edge of a turn. And now let me tell you about that edge. Because this is where I want to leave a thread hanging that you must not forget. There is one specific area of your finances that I have not addressed yet in this message. One category. And when the shift comes, it is going to come there first. In the place you had stopped praying about. The place you had written off. The thing you decided was simply lost. Or simply how it is. Or simply never going to change. You quit asking about it. You made peace with it in a way that was really just surrender. That is where I am starting. Not because I am dramatic, because that is the one you will not be able to explain away. If I move in the area you have been actively working on, you will credit your work. If I move in the area you abandoned, you will know it was me. And you need to know it was me. Because what you are going to need for the next chapter of your life is not money, it is certainty. Money runs out. Certainty compounds. So watch that dead category. Watch it this week. Now, let me speak to a few of you specifically, because this message has more than one address on it. Some of you are in debt that keeps you awake. Not spending spree debt, survival debt, medical debt, debt from a season when everything broke at once, debt from helping someone who never paid you back. And you carry a private shame about it that you would never admit out loud, because you were raised to believe that people in debt are irresponsible, and you are one of the most responsible people you know. Hear me, that number is not your identity. It is a season's residue. And I have never once decided a person's worth by their balance. I have watched wealthy men beg for a night of sleep they could not buy. The number is not you. Some of you have been giving faithfully to a place that is not producing anything, and you feel guilty for even wondering about it. Chosen one, wisdom is not disloyalty. Ask the question. Discernment about where seed goes is part of good farming. No good farmer plants in a parking lot out of politeness. Some of you are working a job you have outgrown by years, and you have stayed out of fear, and the fear is dressed up as loyalty. I am about to make staying uncomfortable and leaving obvious. When that happens, do not panic. Discomfort in a place you have outgrown is not an attack. It is an eviction notice from a room that is too small. Some of you are about to receive something, and the first thing you must decide, before it arrives, is who you will not tell. Decide that now. Decide it before the money exists, because after it exists, your judgment will be clouded by excitement. Joseph's whole first ordeal came from telling the wrong people his dream too early. Learn from him so you do not have to learn from a pit. And some of you are watching this at an hour of the night that you would be embarrassed to admit, in a room where everyone else is asleep, with your phone brightness turned all the way down, because this was the only time in the day that belonged to you. I built this for that hour. Nothing about this is accidental. The video appeared because you were ready, and not one moment before. You have watched hundreds of videos this month and forgotten every one of them by the next morning. You are not going to forget this one. You will still be thinking about the 7 days on Thursday. You will think about it when you are about to argue and you close your mouth instead. That is not the video working on you. That is me working through it. Comment 777 one more time, and this time let it be a signature on an agreement. A commitment that for the next 7 days, you plant and you do not dig. Now let me take you somewhere before we close. I want to talk about what happens after. Because most people are so focused on getting the harvest that they never prepare for it. And an unprepared harvest is how people lose everything twice. When it comes, 3 things will show up with it. First, people will return. People who vanished during your hard years will resurface with warmth in their voice and a reason to reconnect. Some of them are genuinely glad for you. Some of them are not. You will be able to tell the difference within about 2 minutes, because I have spent these hard years sharpening exactly that ability in you. Do not become cruel. Do not become naive either. You can forgive a person completely and still not hand them your keys. Second, you will be tempted to run, to catch up, to make up for lost time by moving fast and saying yes to everything. Do not. The same patience that got you the harvest is the patience that keeps it. Slow down at the exact moment everything speeds up. The first 90 days of increase reveal more about a person than the previous 10 years of lack. Third, you will be tempted to forget the pit, to bury the memory, to never think about that hardest year again. Do not forget it. Joseph named his firstborn son after forgetting his hardship, but he never actually forgot. He remembered so well that when his brothers stood in front of him, starving, not recognizing him, holding all the power in his hands to destroy them, he wept and fed them instead. He said the sentence that is the whole point of everything I have told you today. What you meant for harm, God used for good, to save many lives. That sentence is the destination of your suffering, not an explanation, a purpose. Your harvest has an assignment attached to it. Somebody is going to eat because you did not quit. Somebody is going to be told, I've got it, because I finally put it in your hands. Somebody is going to watch how you handle sudden increase and decide, quietly, that maybe I am real after all. You are not just receiving, you are becoming a distribution point. So let me bring it home. Chosen one, here is everything I have said, gathered in one place. You have not been ignored. You have been processed. The silence was not emptiness, it was construction. The delay was not denial, it was the root going down before the fruit came up. Your obedience was recorded, every unseen act, the forgiveness with no apology, the silence in the argument you could have won, the giving that cost you, the excellence nobody checked, the integrity nobody rewarded. All of it went into the ground as seed, and seed always does what seed does. The money is the last car on the train, not the first. Things have already moved. Your name, your reputation, your capacity, your discernment, and 3 obstacles you never even knew existed. The one thing that can still delay you is digging. Digging is doubt with hands. So plant, water, tend, and do not dig. 7 days. Obey silently. Do not defend yourself. Work above your pay grade. Guard your words about your own future. And obey the small nudge that makes no sense. Watch the dead category. The one you stopped praying about. That is where I will start, so that you cannot credit anyone but me. And when it comes, remember the pit. Not to grieve it, but because it is the only reason you will know exactly what to do for the person who is currently in one. Now here is the thread I am leaving hanging, and I want you to feel it pull. There is a specific instruction attached to the day your breakthrough arrives. A first move. What you do in the first 24 hours after the shift will determine whether it is a season or a permanent altitude change. Most people get it wrong. They do the celebratory thing instead of the strategic thing, and they spend the next 2 years back where they started, confused, wondering why the blessing did not stick. I am not going to leave you without that. But you are not ready for it today, because it is meant for the person who has already completed the 7 days, and you have completed 0. So finish the week. Come back. I will be here, and I will have the next part waiting for you, and by then you will have your own evidence in your hands, and you will not need me to convince you of anything. Do not scroll away from this and let it become one more good feeling you had on a Tuesday. Feelings evaporate. Obedience compounds. Start today, not tomorrow. Today, before the momentum of this moment cools. Because it will cool. That is how momentum works. And the person who acts inside the window is the person whose life changes. You are not behind. You are on time. You are not forgotten. You are being finished. You are not too late. You are almost through the door. I have never once looked away from you. Not in the worst year. Not on the worst night. Not in the moment you thought you had disqualified yourself permanently. I was there, and I was not disappointed, and I was not leaving. Go plant. If this reached you, hit like and subscribe so I can find you again. Because there is more coming, and I do not want the next word to miss you. Turn the notifications on so the day part 2 arrives, it lands in front of you and not in the noise. And if this ministered to you and you would like to help these messages reach the next person who is sitting in the dark with their phone brightness turned all the way down, you can support the channel's videos by leaving a tip at the link in the pinned comment. Only if it is easy for you. Never if it is not. Nothing about your standing depends on it, and I mean that. Your harvest is not for sale and never was. Comment 777 so I know you finished. Then go be quiet for 7 days and watch what starts moving.